And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwifting live broadcast we are out on the Tour de Boudicca stage number 3. And it is the Queen of the Mountain stage. The final stage, we are out on one lap of the Volcano after party, or you could call it 2 laps of Volcano Flat and then climbing the volcano. It's going to be hotly contested because GC is on the line at the top of the climb, as well as Queen of the Mountain points. We do see chat jumping on in. Good to see everybody over on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitch. We'll be bringing in your comments as we come on through. I'm Nathan Garrett. Dave Toll's next to me. We've had 2 days of fast racing so far, Dave, and REVO's put quite the program together here.
Yeah, we'll have a chance to talk about the finale from yesterday across all of the different categories. So many things. I'm glad we started early, Nathan. Thanks for firing up the machine. There's a lot of excitement for the final stage of Tour de Boudicca. So let me start here by thanking our organizing committee. This group of women did a tremendous job of putting together this 3-day, 3-stage event that's really redefining racing. The real big difference here for people just joining us is the fact that we're racing across many different categories. It's not just our elite women. And man, this elite race, though, is an absolute barn burner. And we'll talk about that win from Laura Matz and Co. and the sprint with Brie Vine. Everything going on there is nuts. So we have a lot to talk about going forward. But before we do, let me thank Carla Williams, Carla, Sarah Watmore, who've both been out there racing. Most of these women that I'm mentioning are racing. They're on our organizing committee there with REVO. Emma Brinkley, Sil Calderale, Maria Victoria, Christina Sean, Jamie Lee Wright, who really helped out with a lot. And then I also wanted to thank Tina Grobler, who did all of the great graphic work here for the Tour de Boudicca. So Nathan, thanks for allowing us to give a shout out to all of the people that helped craft the race. Our friends Martin and Steven at WTRL also really leaned in on this one. And Nathan, it was a big effort, a team effort here to get us to the start of the final stage. A tremendous amount of excitement as we get ready to hit out with authority. It's the QOM day, or as Sarah calls them, qualms, right? I think that's the new term that I'm going to use. Sarah,
what you'll notice is that the each one of those names are familiar, very familiar to the world of racing out on Zwift as well. They're always featured in the broadcast a lot of times, and that's what's really cool is that you have these ladies that are just passionate about racing out on Zwift, passionate about their community, and that's why they put something like this together. You can see it in the effort that's put in. Before we jump on in, it's about 10 seconds to the start of the stage. I do want to throw Sarah's intro video into here just to give everybody of what's going on out here today.
The third and final race in the Tour de Boudicca is our Queen stage, a 40.5 kilometre race incorporating 2 laps of the Volcano Flat circuit and a scorching climb up to the Volcano Climb. A separate climbing competition will also take place on this stage with points awarded to the first 5 races in each category passing under the Climb banner. But will the winners of this also be our GC podium takers?
So we're jumping right on into the racing here, Dave, and it's got A category riders taking off. I believe we're going to be right up in the hundreds again as far as riders starting here. We had 119 in the pens yesterday, and tons of teams here battling it out. It's going to be pretty flat up front, but you could get some breakaway situations for those riders who are trying to get to the finish line first without having to take on about a 7-minute climb or so up against some of these mountain goats.
Yeah, it's a long day that they've got ahead of them here. So I wonder how you, in your mind, Nathan, how are you going to break this one down? The teams come in with the strategy, that's for sure. It was brilliant racing yesterday from Evoke. V Win, who really, I don't know that I've seen it demonstrated in a more beautiful way and how a teammate can help you win. She goes ahead, we use the term baited out the first sprint that really helped set up her teammate Laura Matz and Co. for the win. It was clinical. We call her the surgeon. So now, though, when you look at it, Brie Vine was one of the riders that, you noted, Nathan, how strong she was. She really backed that up, and I'm going to be looking for her today out here as well. She's one of our Australian-based riders on the Aero team that is absolutely going to be part of the conversation. So with all of the different categories out here, what's going to be great today is we'll get a look at the B's and the C's and the D's as they kind of like the trains coming into Grand Central Station in New York. They'll be coming in on schedule, right? The D's should finish with these really hard. So, Nathan, would you do me a favor? I really appreciate your knowledge of these courses. Let's talk about what they're up against out here today. There's a lot of climbing. That's when we're talking about that Quam or the Queen of the Mountain.
Yeah, so essentially for this course out here today, the riders are going to be taking on the Volcano Flat up front. So they're going to head on over toward through Ocean Boulevard, obviously, that they're going through at this point right now. And then they're going to head on over toward the volcano for the flatter sections. A little bit of a bump into the volcano momentarily, and then come back over toward the piers again and back through Ocean Boulevard. It's going to be 2 laps of that, and then they're going to be heading on up the volcano. So it's actually the flattest course that was on Zwift prior to the release of Fuego Flats. So prior to Fuego Flats, this was the flattest course out. So it's going to be, really a tactical battle up front, but it's all going to be in anticipation of the climb to the top of the Queen of the Mountain.
So almost 2 races in one, right? In a way.
Essentially, yeah, I would have to agree with that.
A race to the bottom of that climb.
Race to the bottom, exactly. And I think some of the more aggressive teams out here may actually kick into gear early on, perhaps, and try and make something. Or if they just don't have a climber, they may want to try and give a go and get enough time. Because if you do get a minute, you could do something with it, but you're going to have to do it fairly early.
This is Nathan. So one of the riders that I saw you communicating with this morning in the pre-show was Charlotte Backus out of Park City, Utah. I like her for today. I really do. I'm expecting a top ride from Charlotte. She's one of the better climbers that we've got on this platform out here. That's a really great choice for someone to watch. It's certainly going to be a watch per kilo kind of day out here as we get going, Nathan. Yesterday we had 119 riders. That group was down to about half its size within 5K. It halved itself again, I would say, by 10K. It was a quick 8 laps of racing out there in Yorkshire yesterday. Today, I have a feeling that the big guns are going to save a little bit, a la what we've seen Lauren Stevens do so well out here on Zwift, right? I mean, you never, when Lauren would go into the climb, she might be sitting 10, 15 seconds back, but boy, does she know how to close out the deal. And we'll see who can do that today. It's going to be really exciting to watch. Any names, Nathan, standing out to you today that maybe we didn't talk? Again, you know what? If you made that front group yesterday, you're probably going to be a part of the conversation today. The reality is, if you can do that, you should be good out here.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. We do have some of the league standings, actually, so that's going to be helpful. Coming in from Zwift Power, I believe this is where things are standing at from what the current leagues are over there, unless anything has changed. But I believe this is going to be Lucy Brash in the A category, leading things off with Sisu, Carly Johan, Lenny Ramsey. That's going to be Claire Cameron, Amanda Wendorf from Sisu, Natalie Keller from Revo, and then Mallory McRosty. Daniela Estrate actually jumping in there from Revo, and even with Crystal, and then Stephanie Sidlick. So even after the domination of a couple of teams in the team time trial, after yesterday's early breakups, it looks like things have changed up a little bit.
Yeah, so really what you're looking at then is your team time trial effort out there, all of these 18. So 2 things you needed to do. You needed to be finishing with a strong team time trial on stage 1, and then yesterday finishing in that front group, which obviously Lucy Brash did. So Sisu wins the team time trial. We were actually with Carly yesterday, so that gives you a good look at the A's. Here's the B's now as we take a look at Susan Vedengal. She's going to be sitting on a time of 1:26:34. So things broke up a little bit more out there in this race. It's going to be Australian Michelle Ferris sitting in second. Jessica McWhirter out of Denver, Colorado at 1:26:45. She's just 2 seconds off of second. This is going to be really fun to watch today, and we will try to spend as much time with all the different categories as we can. As you can see, though, this is going to come down to who can climb the best. It's just going to be a straight up throwdown out there. So Stephanie Hallmichael in 1:26:45. That's 4th. Shazbat in 5th right now. Then we just worked through Mike Urikin, Amy Williams, Delia Thorley, Fancy Nancy, and Georgina Hayden. That's your top 10 for the Bees. Taking a look at the C's here now. Madison Petrali sitting in the lead. She is on a time of after 2 stages, 1:32.53. So you can see that's a decent advantage. But again, she's going to have to climb well to hold off Erin Gerber, who's sitting in second right now. Annaline Visagi is third. Jennifer Kruger sitting in fourth. Saskia de Jong in fifth. Liz Davies Ward, Welsh rider, in sixth. Sonia Whiteman in seventh. So we're again looking at the C's here, our third or fourth categories, with Carla Williams, one of our race organizers. Big shout out to you, Carla, sitting in eighth. Carrie Tolentino in ninth, and then Kelly Bigliazzi sits in 10th right now. And then, Nathan, the D's are out there battling as well. 1:42 flat, the time after 2 stages for Nicole Hallam. Tamsin Law sitting in second, the Scottish rider. Then you got Jacqueline Lee, Lizzie Archer, Sharon Longley. That rounds out your top 5 right now. Still a big day ahead of them. Debbie Mitchell, Gail Kocher, Sarah Perrin, M. Franz, and Arabella Bruce. That's your top 10 right now. So we're locked and loaded. That's a good look at our GC. So the overall, after 2 stages for all of the categories, we're going to jump right back in with the Bs. Now, this is Arnold, TBR, another rider I think we're going to have a chance to check in with. Possibly. There she is. Great job, Nathan.
Yeah, Jen Arnold here from TBR. It looks like hammering away. And looking like she has a little bit of company as well next to her. So pretty cool to see as, riding together there during the race, maybe getting a little bit of coaching as it goes as well here. Sitting, it looks like third place right now, 1:51 out on course as far as the heart rate goes. So things pretty calm so far. It looks like General's got things under control. We'll make sure to keep on checking in as the race does develop. I do see one of our riders that you were talking about. Charlotte Back is actually up and out of the saddle, hammering right now.
Boy.
Let's see if we can get some images coming in here of what exactly is going on in the A race category here in just a moment, because if there are some attacks happening, we definitely want to see what's going on there. But Bax, I think maybe just up and out. Interesting to see here. I'm seeing if I can grab the shots here. And yes, we do have this. I think this is just heading on over toward. Actually, she's almost on the attack here at this point. Let's see. I mean, the shot here. As she does climb, we're gonna lose the full shot. But the A category here already starting to heat things up. Interesting enough. So she was just off the front a little bit as they left Ocean Boulevard. There's a couple little bumps as you leave Ocean Boulevard and head on over toward the Italian Village. And it looks like she was taking full advantage of that. 169 beats per minute at this point. She was pushing off the front turbo, maybe with a little bit of a plan out here today, because look at the back of this pack here, Dave. It's definitely splitting a couple riders off early on.
Hey, it pays dividends in the world of Zwift, Nathan, as you know well, that by eliminating this group and putting riders at the back door, they rarely come back to bother you later, much unlike in real life. Once you put riders in trouble, you don't see them again most of the time. And Charlotte is always going to make this race really, really tough. So this is such, when you look at the big picture of everything that we're going through around the world right now, it's people like Charlotte, these bright lights. So she's a coach. She's a Fort Lewis College graduate. But one thing she brings is this incredible energy to this platform. I highly recommend you follow her on the social media. I sound like I'm 100 years old now, but like it's an entity or something, but the Borg. But no, in all honesty, I mean, if you just her Instagram stuff, it's definitely inspiring, and it shows you just a well-rounded young person that gives you hope for the future. How's that? So let's see what she can do out here today. I've already predicted a top 5 ride. She's working hard early. I wonder what the strategies are going to be out here. I see Christy Tracy starting to move up for the Sarah's Pros Closet team. That's a new team we're really happy to see. I'm a big fan of the Irish rider McChrystal. But Nathan, here's riders hanging on right now here, working hard as we go to the D group. Actually, they're not hanging on. They're making the race, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks like it here. Tina Wheatfield looks like hammering away, coming out of the D category with a little bit of support. It looks like crew next to her at this point as well. Gonna have to really see the spinning happening here. 181 beats per minute. Has made the lead group here for Team Fearless, it looks like so far. Moving her way up through the pack as now sitting around 12 plates or so. So it looks like, I believe she has made the front group. Let me just double check here. Yep, and it does look like that is so. So Tina, along with a few of her teammates perhaps, has Fearless got anybody else in this lead group here? Yes, they do. They got Groves there as well. And I saw one other name coming on through, but it's going to be Vixen, it looks like, Fearless alongside the WTRL ladies and a few Revo ladies that are going to be battling it out in this D category. As well as Tasman Law is there, of course, from the Ice Queens and Jay Lee. So the Ice Queens, they're definitely going to be a threat as they've got that old school jersey that everybody says Greg LeMond used to wear.
Yeah, that Zed jersey
Zed
there.
jersey.
They made. You remember Garanimals or they made children's clothing.
This is older
in
than
France.
I am. Okay, I'm sorry,
You're
Dave.
way-
But this
yeah,
is cycling
early.
before Nathan, is what this is.
So it's post Boudicca, pre Nathan is when that era would have been.
That's how it's marked in history.
Yeah,
Is post-
yeah.
yeah.
On the
That's exactly
timeline.
what the historians are thinking. Is post Boudicca. Oh man.
So-
Nice one, Dave.
So
Good one, Dave.
Boudicca, hey, we should mention because I see a whole bunch of new viewers today. Thanks for joining us for the final stage. This is our third day of racing team time trial. Then yesterday's brutal stage in Yorkshire. Boudicca was the queen of the tribe that I'm forgetting the name of now, and Martin will tell me in just a moment. It's Iceni or something like that. We'll get it. But right about 60, 61 AD, so before Christ was born, before Caesar. She led a rebellion against the pretty brutal Roman regime. I think both have acknowledged, these were tough days. You think Zwift is tough? You try hanging around 60 AD. It was quite a way to make life. So, in the comfortable confines right now, Park City, Utah, one of the most exclusive zip codes in America, Nathan. I think for all our viewers around the world and racers, Park City is just unbelievably nice. And that's where Charlotte is racing, the Turbo Rider. She has, let's see here, a race is starting to happen, Nathan. It tilts up 4% is the grade. You can see that flattening out right now up in the top right-hand corner. But Nathan, I'll throw it back to you. Stephanie Sidlick, the rider that we're going to check out with here, right out of Pittsburgh. I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, and we do see them heading into the volcano now. A little bit of a climb. It is a 2-tier into the volcano, and then it backs right on off back into the flats. And then they'll be heading back on over toward the Piers and Ocean Boulevard, 10 kilometers down, 13K into the women's race here for the A category at this point. Everything Grupo Compacto, not too many battles opening up just yet in this, as I think a lot of these ladies are going to be looking forward toward, unless there's any breakaways, really even split anything up, they're really going to be looking toward that final climb up and over the top of the Queen of the Mountain. Points on the line there at the top, as well as obviously the GC times that'll be on the line as well.
Yeah, that team time trial was so decisive. It's an interesting way to start out a stage race. It's a good way to do it, for sure, because it really helps highlight the fact that this is not an individual sport. I referenced that lead out yesterday, or I don't know if I call it a lead out, but a table setting job by V Win there for Evoke. How about that ride yesterday, though, to back that up from Laura Matson Co.? She is such a talent. Nathan, I think lately she's become almost automatic out there. If she can get in a small group and sprint out of that, really, really hard to beat. Today, I don't know. I'm wondering, is our winner going to be alone when she comes across the line? Will it be more like a small group, more likely? What are your thoughts on that, Nathan? How decisive?
A lot of times on this climb, there is the climb right there. Actually, they'll be taking a turn over into there after
Different
a little
turn
bit of a
later, yeah.
loop. Yeah, a little bit different turn later on. As they'll approach it from a different direction, I believe, as well. But
40K today. It's a long day, 40K.
Yeah, this climb too is it's not that sharp. It's sharp at the end. There's a couple of little sharp spots on it, but really you can find a draft at a lot of places. I mean, for about 30 seconds or so to a minute or so at times, you can put the pressure on up over VO2 really. But then if you're a smart Zwifter, if you know what you're doing, you can hang onto a wheel and find a draft to go half a watt per kilogram, even a full watt per kilogram less than your competition. So we may be seeing something like that. And I have a feeling you're going to come to the line with about 5, maybe 10 riders, depending, especially in the A category. I think that we are going to see a larger group sprinting to the line, but it'll be a full-on uphill sprint on an 11% gradient. So it still is all about the mountain.
The tactic and strategy that you see in that A race are really exactly the same in this B race, maybe just a couple tenths of a watt per kilo less. But these ladies race the same way. Oftentimes they race together. So you're seeing a really similar situation out here right now, Nathan. They sorted this out to a pretty big group, 62 starters here. So I think, we got pretty close to 400 total starters here across all of the categories. Just tremendous turnout. And I bet you the next time we do an event like this, you'll see the numbers grow even more. There's just been tremendous response to this event. So, Nathan, as we make our way through the first quarter of the race, it really does seem different today than yesterday, doesn't it? You get a feeling after now 2 hard days of racing. So this really backs up or bookends what you knew was going to be a tough 3 days, but you start to feel it. But now you start to get the legs loosening up a little bit as well out there. After you've been on the bike for 15 minutes, I think for most riders, if you're on a good, let's talk about that quickly, Nathan. If you're on a good day today, this is about when you start to feel it, right?
Yeah, I would think you start loosening up the legs just a little bit. You're, 15 minutes in. A lot of the riders, even if you do get a warm up in, you're not going to be pressured as much as once you're actually into the race, fighting for position. The heart rate gets up a little bit more, and as that blood starts pumping through, if you do have good legs, this is when you start to feel them. And we may see a couple of attacks coming through. It does look like the group here is looking at Arnold from TBR as well as Tisman from Vix in there. We are seeing BRT involved here still as well. Cryogen, Team Vegan, Team Autohouse, AHDR with Ferris as well. I think all of these riders here, Grupo Compacto still, they might start to get a little bit antsy, but they still have another lap of flat to go and then into the Queen of the Mountain. So 11.5 in. They still got little under 30K to go, plus a climb in front of them. So lots of racing still. So we may see a couple of risks, though, taken. A couple of gambles. We'll see if somebody wants to roll the dice.
I mean, if you have a strong team, this is where you might ask a rider to go ahead and make the pace harder and try to soften things up. But that requires that you've got, useful, resourceful riders with you there. And right now, Nathan, again, we got a long, long way to go. We're just really making our way into this novel chapter by chapter here. And I think it's going to be a while before we see that first real dig, the hard dig that's going to take place before we get to the bottom of what begins the climb. And as you note, it really does, you still want to be in a group when it's not like I'm trying to think some of the events that we've seen recently, right, with the severity of the climb at the bottom. Who comes to mind is Serre Gigante, right, who just paces herself so well, and it's every rider for herself. Draft almost makes no difference. That's not the case today. You're going to want to stay in a small group, wouldn't you say? If you're going to try to win the stage out here today, I think you attack out of a small group. It would be my estimation. But again, I don't do it quite like you do, Nathan, that's for sure. There's going to be Vera de Gala, one of the Australian hump day riders that we're picking up now, right here in our front group for the Bees.
Yeah, interesting enough, it's herself and I believe Michelle Ferris who are leading things out for AHDR. They're kind of dominating so far. Justin McWhirter there in third place overall, 2 seconds back from REVO. So that's your top 3. So this is your leader, though. Vertigal, and then Ferris, her teammate, looks like 9 seconds back in the GC overall. So HDR kind of dominating. They kind of, if they are climbers, they're going to just be sitting and watching and following wheels over the top of the Queen of the Mountain rather than chasing anything. It's really going to be on Jessica McWhirter, Stephanie Holmichael, as well as Shaz Bat there to try and make anything happen. That's your chasers here, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, that are going to try and perhaps make some moves early on, or at least attack early at the bottom of the climb, because they have to make something happen. They got to get some distance between themselves, because those time gaps, we're looking at about 12 seconds or so. That can be made up on the climb. It's got to be an early attack, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, here we go. Martin letting me know it's the Iceni Queens. Thank you, Martin. That's the name of Boudicca's tribe. They were based in, so I was giving Park City a shout out. I love what's going on over there in England and the United Kingdom. Norfolk and Suffolk was where she did her best to get rid of those pesky Romans. So, didn't succeed. But I think we talked about that yesterday. How a huge part of this, it's that the gladiators in the arena here, the woman in the arena. If you're out here racing, you're beyond reproach or criticism, because you're the one with the courage to get out here and do this. Anybody who's going to talk about it, they're not racing. So good for everybody who took the start out here for stage 3, as we got ourselves a real battle shaping up. Yesterday, just doing all of these circuits out there with sprint after sprint. Today, it shows you how bike racing and stage racing, that's one of the great things, is one day might not suit you, but the next day might. And it's why you always want to keep out there fighting, because you never really know. And a lot of these riders, Nathan, are finding out what their real strengths are.
We are looking at the C category. They're just finishing up their first lap, as you can see, starting into their second here out on the Volcano Flat. 12.8 kilometers in, 19 minutes of racing down for the C category. This can be leading out by Madison Petrali as they look forward to their climb. Again, a close battle on GC. It's going to be between Petrali out here, who has made the lead group. So Petrali here coming out of Italy. This is the rider here, 143 beats per minute, 237 watts currently. Petrali there, she'd be chased down though by Erin Gerber. It looks like, and Gerber here out of US of A, she is going to be 11 seconds back though. Again, a battle that can be won on the Queen of the Mountain. Actually, between the top 5, it is going to be Saskia De Jong, Jennifer Kruger, and Annaline Vestagi there out of South Africa as well. They are all within, it looks to be 15 seconds, maybe a little more.
Yeah,
right around there of each other. There's a battle again that'll start at the bottom of the volcano.
So it's crazy, right? If this were, or it's not crazy, but I mean, if this were a race like yesterday, getting 15 seconds, not really imaginable. But today, the course serves an opportunity for you to do exactly that. So when you look at it, that's such an ideal situation with 5 riders within 15 seconds of each other for the overall battle here for the Queen Bee at the Tour de Boudicca. Right on. It's going to be a battle royale again here, 2070 or 2080 years later. So this is it. Front group here for the C's. Again, we've mentioned a little bit of a selection happens in any esports race in the first few K. It's just a matter of bearing down on it. But once you made it to this point, you know you're there to race. You're locked and loaded. And 4 different categories. A big part of the success of this event, Nathan, has been the inclusiveness for riders around the world, but of all ability levels as well.
I was looking through. It does look like Erin Gerber has made. I was concerned that perhaps Gerber had not made the front group, but it does look like she has. So all together here, still with the first and second place so far. It's going to be Cryogen then that Gerber is riding for. Petrali riding for Vixen. So it's Cryogen versus Vixen there for the top 2 spots there. I wonder if Vixen's going to try and set anything up. They have been a team as well as, Cryogen as well, though. Both of them definitely teams that have riders that are extremely experienced. They've been on the platform for years at this point, so they're going to know how to race. They're going to know what to do. And we'll see if the C category heats up with anybody trying to make something happen early. They could send a couple of riders off the front, try and make some chasing happen who are maybe within striking distance, they're still looking through the times here. The striking distance within the top 5, even top 6, if you start sending somebody off the front that's like, well, I'm a minute back, but I could get some time, you could try and instigate something because you can't let that go too far.
Exactly. That's really one of the interesting things about a stage race is there's the stage, the value and the prestige that comes with winning the day, but then there's the overall, which always really seems to ultimately take, especially when you're talking about controlling a bike race, it's the riders that are fighting to be the Queen Bee, and their teams that don't let that gap happen because they don't want to lose the overall. They don't want to lose that jersey on the final day. That's what it's all about out here. So, yeah, it creates a really interesting dynamic, that's for sure. Another thing that really huge benefit out here, I see Cryogen just popping up all over the place. That they deserve a ton of credit, Nathan. 22 different Cryogen teams out there. That's men and women. But I mean, when you look at it, talk about all inclusive. I'm not going to say they're the biggest team out there. There's some really massive outfits that have come together in the Zwift platform. But they certainly, when you look at inclusiveness and racing on all the different categories, it's really incredible what Cryogen has done. And they're going to be a huge part of the conversation in a couple of the different races that we've got going on out here. This is the C women that we're looking at. It's all based on watts per kilo. You find the right range and you jump in with that group. Some riders are going to be trending upward through a category, and that's a big part of it. It's racing against quality fields. When you look at it, Nathan, it's not just the course, it's not the distance, it's who you're racing against that makes a victory so sweet.
And we're jumping in with the D category now, back in with Whitfield here. She hammers away out of her pain cave here. Up toward the front just a moment ago, we did see Whitfield, so she's looks like hanging tough here for Team Fearless at this point. It is going to be the Ice Queens. Excuse me, that is that she's going to have to be dealing with, though, as they did the 1, 2, 3 on the rest of the group yesterday. So the Iceni Queens, watch out for them. As we're as we're going through here, Hallam has made the lead group, obviously. 132 beats per minute. I think that the IQs are up in the 200s here at this point as they sit in and just wait for their moment here. And I think that is going to be at the bottom of the climb. They don't have to do a whole lot. You know, Nicole Hallam here we're looking at, as well as her teammate Tasman, Jacqueline there as well. Lee, they're all, I'm looking at 12 seconds for Hallam. Tasman's not going to chase on the climb. She's not going to try and bring back her teammate, I wouldn't think. Tactically, Dave, that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. She's 12 seconds back at this point. And then it's a pretty big gap back to Jacqueline. So really the battle's for third place, maybe because Lizzie Archer, she's within striking distance perhaps?
You know, and one of the things, and credit where it's due, jumping in at this level, Nathan, it's a little bit wild out there when it comes to tactics, I have learned. You know, sometimes you just really don't know what the heck is going on. It is every woman for herself. It can get bananas in this D category. A lot of these riders are relatively new to racing, and it's fun. It really is. You really find out how deep you can dig when you're jumping in with a group of women and racing at this level. It brings the best out of you, that's for sure. But tactically, sometimes we're on the beginning part of that learning trajectory, right?
100%. And, you know, I think Lizzie Archer here, she's got a battle on her hand. I think in the mind of Lizzie Archer as well as Sharon Longley, trying to take down at least one of the Ice Queens out there today is going to be the goal. Jacqueline at 143.56. Let's take a look at this here real quickly. I mean, this is the current situation, right? And it is fun. Lizzie, when they hit the bottom of that climb, she's thinking about that 17-second gap. That's all that's on her mind at that point, along with Sharon. And there is a podium on the line there. And then between the other ladies here, 144.24, 144.24, Debbie Mitchell there. You know, it's a pretty big gap back to Gail. Maybe be able to pull something off. I mean, depending on whether or not you're a climber, I mean, big time can be made up on this volcano.
You know, we talked about it yesterday. Townsend Law is in maybe the coolest situation that a bike racer can find. 12 seconds back on GC with a climb to chase down, or, you know, we'll see what it looks like when they get there into that moment in the bike race. And we do, I'll admit, we still have 24.5K before we're there to the finish line. But Tamsin is going to have that opportunity to try to do what Greg LeMond did, right, in the old Tour de France there in '89 in that Z jersey. Circling back for you. But that chasing down of a handful of seconds, she'll set a new personal records, no question. Her FTP will go way up on that climb today.
That's a good question, luck, too. If we got, you know, there's probably going to be some sort of survey about this that's put out there, and, you know, the race organizers are doing such a great job. What's the percentage of new FTPs after this stage race? That would be a great question to put out there, because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of upgrades with how much motivation is happening out there.
Absolutely, Nathan. I see you jumping. Now, maybe not with this group, right? Because some of these ladies have really raced at a high level for a while. You know, but for all the other categories, I bet you more than half. We'll have to ask our crew to check in on that.
Backus and the rest are not messing around right now, Dave. This is the 2-tier, and like this is the only place that you really get any kind of climbing. on this course prior to the Volcano Queen of the Mountain, and reality here right now is they're stretching things out here. Turbo's not messing around. I wonder if her job is to just crack the whip today, and set things up.
Well, that's going to be really fun to find out the answer to that, Nathan. But I tell you what, that might look like a nice, sweet young woman. That is a stone cold killer right now, an assassin on pedals
She just
here.
used the power up too. Like they're they're trying to break this apart.
Yet Turbo wants to shatter the screen. They're starting to do it. Here we go, folks. It is on like Donkey Kong right now. This comes a little bit earlier than I expected, but this is going to be an interesting next couple of minutes here to see. You can see they're starting to dig in. Other riders are recognizing it. You're going to need to be attentive, Nathan. I love it. We got a long way to go, and this race is already really finding another level.
Backus up out of the saddle again. It looks like here, just
she's
trying
giving
to
her
keep the pace high. They're up to 47 kilometers per hour. As you saw earlier on the flats, it's really around. It hovers around 44 to 45 or so. Really, when they're not given too much. Hargreaves here now trying to just hold on. It looks like at 180 beats per minute here. A lot of ladies just looking to recover, able to drop off a couple of riders. It looks like already. And going to move my way backwards here and see who's struggling. 179 here from Cryo RDT. Rogers as well. Pitzer, the U.S. National reigning champion here now at the back of the pack from Evoke here. But at 166, maybe playing it cooler.
She's all right.
Some of the other ladies.
Yeah. Angela Pitzer, so Evoke do such a good job on this platform. I see Mallory McRoasty as well. Shani Berger, the Israeli rider who was yesterday, I believe she ended up on top of our points competition. She had a good ride there, but now she's going to be in a little bit of trouble as they continue to soldier on here. That's Charlotte Watts out of the United Kingdom that we're looking at. But if you look at Charlotte Backus and Charlotte Watts, really interesting how comparable they are in power profiles, weight, everything. It's so, oh boy, that white jersey tells me.
Pitzer let us know. I'm not struggling. I'm fine. Right to the front. No big deal.
So a big fan of Evoke, and Angela Pitzer's an awesome racer and person as well. There she is right on the front, right on cue. Good job. So it looks like everything, I guess, back under control. Charlotte just sort of asserting a little bit, kind of letting everybody know, raising a flag up, saying, hey, we're here to race today. Watch out for Turbo. Watch out for Revo. I see Monolith Keller. I'm expecting big things from Keller as well. The women out of Seattle are killing it out here.
Yeah,
early
Monolith
adapters.
Keller, this is a good she is within striking distance of fourth place overall. I'm not sure 1 minute amongst this crew here on a 7-minute climb is just maybe a little bit too much to be asking for, but definitely within a striking distance there of Claire Cameron, as well as obviously tied right now. I'll go ahead and bring this in. You can see where things are at as they head toward. They are going to be on their way to the climb. They're finishing up their lap here, and as they do, it's going to be on over toward the climb. And looking at these times here, I think the real question is Sisu going to have an in-house battle along with Lenny Ramsey there as well? And then the chase, though, coming from Cameron, Wendorf, and Monolith Keller, I think those three are going to be looking at each other as long as McRoasty. I mean, there's a lot up for grabs here, even within the top 15, I would think, too.
You know, Nathan, between Brash and Johan there, that what you were just referencing, the question about an in-team battle, at the end of the day, you can either get up that climb or you can't, right? So it's not like one rider really attacking the other. It's going to come down to who's got it. 2 seconds is nothing by the time that climb is over. I mean, again, we're not talking about the Alp to Zwift here, but 2 seconds between those two. I think the stronger rider will find a worthy champion. Let's put it that way. They don't need to be devious to each other out there. Odds are the way racing will play out, they'll end up chasing someone anyways, right? Someone like Anna Russell. There's a good name. The triathlete out of New Zealand who's always so strong. Brie Vine, sitting cool as a cucumber back there right now. She's obviously going to be a huge part of the final conversation that we've got today. I mean, Nathan, wouldn't you think? I mean, Brie Vine is really, really well suited for this.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Now, real quick, after yesterday's sprint points, we were able to get those going here, and it looks like Martin has put together a little screen for us. So before we head into things are pretty calm here at this point across the categories from what I can tell as I'm looking across them all. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at how things played out for the sprint points yesterday as they were on the line, and there is a jersey being awarded for that. So go ahead, take it away, Dave, here for the sprint points yesterday.
Well, thanks, Nathan. Shani Berger, who was just up there. I mean, these first three names were so impressive in the mix all day long. Shani Berger with 40 total points, so a commanding win there in that sprint competition. Lucy Brash taking second. Helen McKay rounding out your top three. Then you've got Beth McIver in fourth, Claire Cameron, Bree Vine, Laura Matson-Coe, ultimately the stage winner yesterday, Jasmine Welter, Eve McChrystal, and Christy Tracy. That is for the A's. So 8 laps out there. They sprinted just about every lap, and Jen Arnold ended up with 41 points. That's dominating out there. 33 for Lauren Wilson for silver. Diem Doe, way to go, Diem. That's awesome. 16 points puts her into third. Michelle Ferris in fourth. This is for the B's that I'm talking about now. Susan Verdegal in fifth. Then I'll work our way down to 10th for Secret, Laura Hewitt, Melanie Dobbins, Kimberly Jewell, and Pamela Chamber. So that's the B's there. Again, 41 points for Jen. Madison Petrali taking it the gold standard for our C women. Sonia Whiteman in second for silver. Pat Murray taking third. So 45 points, 31 and 18. That's how the top three scored it. Yvette Cook in fourth, Caitlin Markham, Carla Williams, Jennifer Kruger, Sarah Watmore, Annalene Visagi, and Carrie Tolentino, all finishing up our top 10 there. It then is Lizzie Archer, Sharon Longley, and Sarah Perrin. That's your top 10. You can see Lizzie Archer was a force, a wattage cottage out there yesterday. Way to go, Lizzie. So Lizzie is the top rider in our sprint competition from yesterday's stage 2. For our, this is going to be the D women. Sharon Longley, Sarah Perrin, that's top 3 podium. Nicole Hallam, Debbie Mitchell, Tamsin Law, Ann Walker, and M. France. There's our top 8. Thanks, Nathan. Glad we could look at our sprints.
Here on this, interesting in the D category for me is that Nicole Hallam is your leader currently in the overall, but Lizzie Archer, 4th overall. Looks like some sacrifices made maybe out there yesterday for that sprint competition, perhaps, made by Lizzie to take that down. Really a lot of effort put into that sprint competition. Really cool to see when they are focused on like that.
It's so fun when this is a team sport. It's so much more than just getting on your smart trainer and pedaling as hard as you can. Once you start to, it's the community. We talked about that with Zwift. The secret sauce to Zwift wasn't an exercise machine. It wasn't just being a video game. It was community added into that. Nathan, you created Zwift Community Live. I think you got the memo pretty early, right? As bringing people around the world together. It's not just racing. In our case, it is almost all the time. We had some fun doing charity events as well. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can use this for good. And that's what it's become, a force for good out there, and a force for pain and suffering in a way that we love. Because you got to be somewhat crazy to do this to yourself now. 3 stages, Tour de Boudicca, full gas from here on in. We've got all 4 categories queued up. This is our B women that we were with. Now taking a look at Christy Tracy and the A's here, and it's gonna be McChrystal, the Irish rider for the Velocity Vixen, a team that has a lot of supporters out there.
Christy actually opened things up out of a climb that's on Ocean Boulevard actually here. It's one of the only other parts out on course of Ocean Boulevard. As you leave it, you head into this section where you hit some dirt, and this dirt actually slows the avatars down a little bit, where it causes an ability, if you want to burst through here, you can burst. Actually, you burst prior to hitting the dirt, and then when you hit the dirt, it's slowing all the other avatars down. But if you really throw down, it's like going through a rocky section or going through something that's going to slow down everybody else. But if you are willing to put out more watts and kind of attack those sections, you can break things apart. And the drafting is not quite as much beneficial through this section. So it did look like they wanted to make something happen, but it looks like a couple of riders here struggling. As I said, if you're not attempting here, look at this. It's breaking things off the back. Leah Thorvaldsen, that is not a name I would expect to be off the back there. So obviously the pressure was put on there for a moment.
What a very astute, Nathan. You're going to see maybe a couple riders getting back in. And then, I mean, yesterday we watched a huge effort. I mean, a monster effort from Thorvaldsen. She got caught in a group of about 30. There was a split. The gap opened up to, I'm going to say it was 10 seconds. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan. But she was one of the only riders that made it. She timed it. She jumped across right before the next sprint launched. If you didn't get into the group in that 5-second window, you weren't going to make it. We found out how timing is everything out here. I believe it's Esther Walker, the rider that we have right now for the San Diego Bicycle Club here that we're watching. We're back in with the A's now. Big front group with about 10K to go, little less.
Yeah, and definitely starting to ramp up, though. I thought maybe they'd keep it chill until they actually headed into the final climb here, but it looks like they are not doing so at all, and hammered away just a little bit here as we do head into the final climb here in just a moment. Some of the riders here toward the front starting to find their positions as they do so. It's going to be a left-hand turn, a little bit of a snake here, and then on toward the Italian Vigilance. This is one other section of climb. It is a false flat, 1% to 2% gradient, and then a left-hand turn that has no draft on it. So this is an opportunity spot as well, and we do see Turbo making their way to the front again. I believe Bacchus really likes this section. I have a guess that this is going to be Bacchus to the front because she has been making her way to the front of the course. No, excuse me. That's actually going to be Thorvaldsen, I think, setting herself up again rather than find herself toward the back as she was struggling at a certain moment there.
I think you can feel the pressure, though. Riders are starting to realize that positioning is going to matter. See how it's kind of bunching up like a spearhead here on the front? Nobody really, there's Claire Good, fearless rider that I'd be watching for again today. Another rider out of the United Kingdom that's going to make a mark on this final stage. But Nathan, you can see the riders that know the game here, they're pushing to be right where they want to be because they know the fireworks are coming here. The Charlotte Bacchus is one of them. Again, we've been able to bring her in camera. I'm just looking around, Nathan. I mean, there's nobody missing now. We've got to this point in the race. Laura Matson-Co, yesterday's winner. That's going to be Charlotte Bacchus again. This is going to start to wear on you. We're right at that point now, 42 minutes. This is where you go into this turning into a long race. It's going to be brutal from here on in. All right, regulators, time to mount up because we're going to have quite a battle. This is going to be fun, Nathan. Final stage, Tour de Boudicca coming your way here.
Yeah, and you can see here Bacchus here trying to place herself well in the group here, as you can see. Let's see if transparency not working the greatest there, but it looks like Bacchus here 3.9 watts per kilogram, 168 beats per minute right now. A little bit of concentration on the face there, as you can see, looking to try and find the wheels now at this point. A little bit of suffering, I think, here, as the pace has been really high a moment ago. I think Stars the Pros Closet.
Wow.
Just a moment ago was putting the pressure on. I think it's put some of the riders here on the back foot earlier than they thought they were going to be.
You're watching these wattage numbers, watts per kilo here. It's starting to ramp up. Group starting to get, well, again, you feel that it's just a matter of time here before it goes into the finale, the next level. There's Helen McKay hanging right in there. A lot of big names in this field. Bexy Dew looking good. Another fearless rider here. Well, maybe wanting to move up a little bit, but in the right group, that's for sure. That's really the name of the game right now. Nathan, you mentioned these gravel sections are always a little bit tedious there. If you're sitting near the back of the group, you certainly are always going to be aware that a split can open up at any moment on this platform.
Yeah, 100%. And as we do see the riders heading toward the volcano in the distance, the top there.
There it is.
There's the heat coming out, and that's where it's going to
feel like I'm
right
in The Hobbit
up.
or the Lord of the Rings or something.
Orange
numbers.
There's
a dragon
orange
in
numbers.
there.
They're going to have to definitely throw down what we're seeing there in the lava in just a moment. That's what they are looking at in expectation. I do believe they take a right-hand turn into the two-tier, and then they head through the volcano and onto the other side. They will be heading on up after that. So a little bit of climb, another section where they could try and make a little bit of a break. We'll have to wait and see if that happens.
Well, you know out there, folks, who your favorite riders are. They're going to be digging really, really deep. So get ready to give them a ride on. It's going to help every little bit out there. As this is why we do this. I made the joke yesterday about that's the difference between being a bike rider and being a bike racer. Well, believe me, we've been in bike race mode here all day long with this group, as they're now over 45 minutes, and it's going to be another 15 or so, but it's going to be a brutal 15 here, Nathan.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And Backus here now, 3.6 watts per kilometer, moving our way forward here. It's going to be Timwell here coming from REVO now, trying to make her way to the front. Looks like trying to set up before the little bit of a climb. Right-hand turn, as we said, into the 2-tier, and then on into the volcano. So they're going to hit this little bit of 5, 6, 7% gradient momentarily. Left-hand turn, and then another kick toward that lap finish banner. It does look like on the front. Now Keller now making her way here. REVO, a little bit of a move.
Here we go.
8 watts per kilogram now, as you can see. Maybe just trying to get position rather than anything else. Look at Turbo on the front. It's going to be McKay, Backus, Bamburst is there as well from AHDR now. Tracy setting up. They know all the names are making their front now because they know these are the moments you do not want to find yourself out the back. McKay actually using a feather power. No, Backus using a feather power up. Interesting enough. And that is before the climb. They are already trying to make things difficult. It's not just about the climb here at this point. They want some suffering.
This is what we talked about, the race to the bottom of the climb. It's begun right here, right now. It is on like Donkey Kong. All right, folks, this is what we were waiting for. You can see the gaps are starting to open up a little bit throughout this group. Right there, you can see there are bigger gaps starting up near the back here, Nathan. They're going to make a selection here now. Again, you're not going to win the race in the next couple of K, but you certainly can find yourself in big, big trouble. I love it. The moment when they really put the accelerator down on the floorboard, it has arrived. There is one of our leaders certainly in contention for the overall win. When you talk about Sisu, they win the team time trial. It seems like a long time ago. Is now we've got ourselves into what's really going to be the final 5K. It is all on the lines. They're racing for the chocolates.
Yeah, and here we go here. Christy Tracy on the front right now. And Christy Tracy, she had an amazing race yesterday, blew things apart early on for SARS the Pros Classic, and then she went out and did a gravel race. Actually, I think it was like a 60 plus, or something. I don't know. It was I think 100K or something like that gravel race. Late night last night, and then get some sleep, back on the bike again, and aggressive into the KOM here, excuse me, Queen of the Mountain here on the volcano, stage 3. This lady just loves to race her bike.
Limitless capacity. You know, I mean, can you imagine being Jamie Tracy? He's exhausted. Jamie can barely keep up trying to hang. It's awesome what's happening down there in
fun,
Texas.
It looked like last night.
Oh, he loves it.
He
gosh.
had that.
Yeah.
He had this some sort of. It was the Scooby-Doo van is what I felt like. It was like this awesome Tron van is what I want to call it. And I actually even left the comment saying, you know, with that van, with the disco ball and all the lights on it as a support vehicle, you better have a Tron bike that Christie's out on there as well. Where's the light up wheels is what I was wondering. But cool to see that they're out there doing awesome things at all these races.
Yeah, anybody else gets pulled over by the cops, they'd be like, what is going on here? But Jamie was in the Coast Guard, so he knows the secret handshake and everything, I think. So, all right, back to the racing, though, as we pick up our A women. Again, we're going to have plenty of time to cover the B's, C's, and D's as they make their way to the finish line. This group is going to be flat out flying as they really have approached the crux of the situation out here. 48 kilometers per hour is the speed that they're carrying. What really is important is Nathan is infamous for the numbers are popping red. Well, it won't be too long until you see that happening, and that's when the watts per kilo become bananas, and these riders do what only the top racers in the world can do out here, and that's try to win a race. I mean, just to be in contention right now, you've come a long, long way. To over and be the queen at the Tour de Boudicca, and especially today being the queen stage of this race. Yesterday's circuit race was important. Maybe more of a day for the sprinter type riders, but Nathan, to do it here, you got to be able to do it all.
Bamrose right to the front. Looks like a rider I've watched out for. We were just watching a TFC rider there for just a moment, but now to the front it's going to be Hart Krogager. Now these are the riders here that are looking to set themselves up well at the bottom of the climb. It's a race to the bottom you were talking about there. Penton as well from Arrow, it looks like now, 176 beats per minute now. Brashto taking over from Sisu now, set up very well. Now obviously this rider looking to take command of this situation. Again, just a quick reminder as we hit the bottom of the climb. Brash, 2 seconds over Johan there. Sisu, Ramsey, Cameron, watch out for these names. Wendorf, Keller, McRosty, Estrate, McChrystal, and Sidlick. That's your top 10. Heading into the bottom of the climb, these are the riders. And then there's some riders that are outside of that top 10. They're going to be looking for some time, though. And I'm thinking of Turbo with McKay making her way to the front, as well as Cryogen there with Van Dyke now. Some of the climbers that might not be able to make their shine yet, not able to put their stamp on this race because we had a flatter TTT. We had a sprinter circuit yesterday. Now the climbers are going to come out looking for that queen of this mountain.
Lucy Brash does not look like she's been in any trouble. There's Montalie Keller popping red for the first time there, Nathan. But I think Brash has got to be feeling pretty good about the situation. It's going to be a stage win here as well. It's going to be interesting to see which one really takes precedence here. Is it going to be the GC battle? Because it's going to be pretty hard to upset Sisu here, Nathan. They've got 3-4 riders that are really strong in this group.
We got an esports team on the front here. Cyrus the Pros Closet. They know how to win stage races. We saw it in the men's racing. Now we're going to see it in the women's racing because Takashita off the front coming out of Japan.
Yeah, well, and you got to love this. Again, around the world, we got racers who are ready to hit out with authority. Saris, the Pros Closet, Nathan, really well noted. Nobody races at the level that this squad does. They were during the Tour de France, the virtual event that took place over the last month. It was noted how their expertise was used by a few of the different pro teams as they were really learning the ins and the outs of what goes on here in e-racing. So Takashita is going to open up the account here, but they're not going to play around. They don't give her any leash. So look at that. Brash is sitting right there where she wants to be. So Sisu is saying, go ahead. The clash of the ash is happening right now here as it's going to start blowing up behind them. Okay, now we go to a whole different look at this, Nathan. Look at the group now. Many riders are just hanging on. It's going to be your OSS situation has arrived. Only the strong are going to survive now through the finale.
Yeah, we're moving our way backward just a little bit. McChrystal here now looking to hang on from Vixen. Is it going to happen there? Cravo from Team ZF. There's Zwift Fitness from looks like not unable to really make it happen here at this point. We'll see if they come across now. It's going to be McChrystal. Nardi though now trying to come across. McKay there, Turbo. Anna Russell now suffering. That's not something I was expecting to see. The triathlete coming out of New Zealand, 6.0 watts per kilogram with a drafting power-up trying to hang on at this point. Back is now 5 watts per kilogram. Look at the suffering on the rider's face. The suffering is there. She is turning the head. I know that feeling. I do that exact thing, trying to hang on there. Bacchus makes the group, and this right here, this moment, before you hit this through the Volcano Flat section, she has made it. Hung on to this point. If they don't ramp up and sprint through here, this is a point where you can kind of collect yourself before the final kick to the top.
Perfect. Look at, she's doing exactly that. But Charlotte Bacchus has turned herself into a human wattage cottage there in Utah right now, making that. Look at that. They hit the dump button right there. I'm going to say that 20 riders got paid out of that group. So here we go. That's what you call a selection.
Takashita Payne for what she did earlier. Look, she's off the back just a little bit. Now trying to get back on terms. Looks like she's going to do just that as we're seeing the Stars Pros Closet rider just grabbing back on, as you can see. She did some damage, but she damaged herself too much. We've only got about 2.5 minutes to the top of this climb and seeing who's going to win all the points for the Queen of the Mountain and if we're going to see any changes in the overall for this GC.
Looks like Mallory McRoast is going to hang on to a top 10. Shawnee Berger is there today having a really good right now as the rider out of Israel. But I got to say, V-Win, tremendous job yesterday. Can V-Win find her way into the top 5 or even better, get a stage win out here today? The Vietnamese rider is absolutely killing it right now. Oh, only the strong need apply at the front now.
Vixen,
Nathan, there goes Stephanie. Yeah, the Velocity Vixen here. This is going to be Chafin that we're looking at. Oh, they're surging here. More riders in trouble. It is absolutely a battle royale going on. Stephanie Sidlick there. Again, a very talented in real life climber, and she's showing she could do it on this platform as well here. Okay, it looks like we're down to about 20 riders now still in contention here in the front group.
Yeah,
Don't
there's going to
worry
be a
about
couple of undulations. There's a little bit of a downhill for just a moment. There's this little kick. This is one. Then there's going to be a second, and then there's going to be a third 11% gradient to the top. It's Shawnee Berger going early. It looks like following Christy Tracy going here. Shawnee Berger 8.5 now. This is the moment whether or not you're going to hang, because I think they know a lot of riders are on the back foot now. Berger goes, starts the pros closet with 2 off the front, coordinated attack. Monty Keller looking to follow. Brash here trying to hang on, but no, Berger goes here. 189 beats from 90 beats, 190 beats per minute, 400 watts now. Berger looks to put the seal on this one.
Christy Tracy punched in the launch code there in Texas, and this is the Israeli rider, Shawnee Berger, who is now going to try to close out this deal with a massive stage win. Nathan, the gap is big. It's over 4 seconds right now. Shawnee Berger will be scraping the bottom of the barrel here, looking for every watt she can to try to hold on for a brilliant solo win. It's not that far off.
No, and it's just going to get a little flat for just a moment. Then the last kick to the line. Can she hold on to 5 seconds, though? Keller looks like she's fading here. Revo, not going to be happening. I think Revo's going to be going backwards at this point, because it's going to be Brash, Sidlick, looking at Bree Vine, who's been waiting. I think Bree Vine's been waiting in the gates here for the moment to pounce, but I think Berger might have this here. 7 seconds is a huge gap, but it can be closed down, because now the real peak is going to happen. Now it's going to be the sharpest points now, 197 beats per minute. Will she have anything left in the legs, because orange numbers are going to be popping behind?
Hey, listen, one thing's for sure. Lucy Brash has done a tremendous job. It looks like she's going to win the overall. So, Nathan, we can totally focus on the stage win here today. Shawnee Berger, though, looks like she may have done enough. You mentioned how tactically, Saris, the pros closet, this team operates at another level. Have they cracked the code? Those numbers popping red. Molly Keller's coming.
Do it. Monty Keller, it's within sight, but no, Berger says no, it's not going to happen. I thought Keller maybe, but no, it's going to be Berger, Keller, and then behind, Cryo, RDT, Bexy, Do It looks like the next one to come across the line in the A category. Oh my goodness, what a kick. Backus here. Let's get a couple of shots here of the rider here coming on in as we have the live rider. Always love to give the shout out to the riders that are pushing to the line, that have given us the live shots. It looks like we've lost it. We've lost the feed here for a second here, but Backus to the line, it looks like. That's a top 15, I think. Go ahead and jump in with a couple of other categories. So as they start, B category just starting up. We will have a replay of that finish, but we got to jump in with the B category now as they are just starting their climb.
Wow. All right. Take a deep breath, because here we go again.
Right? It's like intervals, Dave. We have these. Okay, and restart. Let's go.
There's 14 categories. Well, no, only 4. But so this is the B's now. But so what did we learn from what we just saw? A solo attack can win. Timing it, bringing it down, staying in this group. We're going to see probably something similar. Who wants to be the queen bee on the queen stage here at the Tour of Boudicca? I got to give Shawnee Berger credit, Nathan, the fact that she had the ability to double down on that attack. She had a little bit more, because I thought Monty Keller was going to do the classic esports move, wait to the last minute and pounce like a puma. But she comes close. But Shawnee Berger holds on. Something about I found out my luck got better the braver I got. Well, that was all about being brave. In order to win, you got to risk losing. And that was exactly what we witnessed. So, all right, courage, one of the dynamics that really comes into play out here, Nathan. Who's got it in this group today? I love the Otter House team.
Yeah, Otter House, they were on the attack early on, but it looks like it's going to be coming back just a little bit here now. All back together. So nobody able to really break anything, but they're playing I wouldn't call it timid. As Hall Michael makes her way to the front there for Revo now at this point. They know early on it's going to be a little bit of selection, but there's still a lot of drafting as you get negative 6% granny, as you can see. Vertical now out of AHDR. That is your current leader in GC, looking to hold on to her spot here. The seconds are close, though, as we hit the bottom of this climb here at this point. Let's take one more look from the B category perspective. What are we talking about here? It's going to be Susan Vertigo there, Michelle Ferris, Jessica McWork, Stephanie Holmichael, Bat there as well, Riken, Williams, Thorley, Nancy, and Hayden. Those are the names to be watching out for over the top of the climb.
And look how many riders there. Again, when you use that base time of 34, there's so many riders that could win the overall here. This is going to be really exciting for the finale.
Yeah, and it
Oh,
does look
Michael,
like
the Revo rider.
they're about halfway up the climb here at this point. They're just going through the flatter section through the volcano. Then there's going to be essentially a 3-tier kick after this left-hand turn here, rounding the volcano 3 more times as they head up toward the top. Halfway through the climb here, 4% green as they kick, and it's going to be Crone here from Vixen. Vertical still to the front, defending her position. I think she's just following every wheel she possibly can. She's just going to make sure nobody gets too far ahead and catches her out for any kind of seconds.
Nathan, I'm definitely going to be learning more about Lucy Brash. I believe, so my calculations by hand here, so again, not official, but it looks to me like she's going to be the queen bee for the A category. That's huge. That is a big, big win out there if that holds to be true. If not, either way, Sisu, really impressive out here over the course of the last 3 days of racing. To be honest, there's about 400 women that really impressed me throughout the course of this last few days of racing. I think we made a big step forward for esports, all categories, inclusive racing, because getting to watch the B women, this is something we've almost really never done before, Nathan. Really breaking some new ground here.
Yeah, it's really great to be back hanging out with all of the categories again here as we are looking to expand our coverage across. And, it's a big shout out to the race organizers. They're the ones that help make that happen with how they set up the races. So it makes it a lot easier when the race organizers are, paying so much attention to detail. And I'd really say that REVO have been on top of things, that's for sure, as far as putting this organization together. They put a lot of work in. I think some late nights verifying everything and dotting I's, crossing T's like crazy from what I can see in the background here. So really big appreciate and shout out to them again as we make our way up. It does look like a little bit of break happening here. A couple of riders falling off. Hayden, Nancy, Dobbins, they're just hanging on from TBR. As you can see, TBR with a lot of riders actually in here in the light white and pink kit. Arnold has made it here still. We do have some live efforts here. Maybe he's going to be able to get those in.
Shazbot.
This is a huge effort here coming in from Jay Arnold.
Yeah. So, all right, these are the women that are there. Oh, nice. Good. We're going to get a good look here at what it takes. Always nice to have someone riding with you there. Okay, this is it, Nathan. Here we go. The race really begins. It's on now. I think that we're watching ourselves. Not quite the same exact style here, but we do have, it looks like another cryogen rider. This is going to be Litton here, rolling off the front here. Let's see what they're going to do with this.
They're being pretty patient until this point here. They're really
They
letting
sure are.
anything go. I don't think that there's too much worry until a final sprint to the line here. A lot of watching each other here at this point. But I think in just a few moments they start realizing how quickly this kick is going to come up to them here. You can see in the upper right-hand corner exactly what's happening with the climb, as you do see the course profile there. And there's not a whole lot left here. I mean, we're pretty much just about done with this climb at this point. Who is going to go? It hurts. The question.
It hurts that much more, to be honest. When these short, severe climbs, you never dig deeper than that. When you're pacing yourself and you're finding a rhythm, even though the climbs are brutal, you can sort of find a rhythm, but there is no such thing as a rhythm for a finale like this. It's just how deep do you want to go, and that's it. Here we go. That's your moment. It's going to be Holt who lights the fuse, putting it up over 7 watts per kilo. Here we go, Nathan, full throttle.
Yeah, and it is going to be Sarah Lynn Holt making her way to the front now. Amy Williams trying to follow. It looks like now it's going to be Arnold, though. Arnold from TBR up and out of the saddle. Oh, the pain on the face here from Arnold. You can see it, and it looks like Arnold wants to try and take this down. This is right to the line, it looks like. Is she going to happen? It's going to be a third place for Arnold from TBR. Wilson's there, but Holt, it looks like, from Outer House, just able to make it happen. Great job there to Arnold. She's smiling for the camera as well, even while she comes across the line for third place. Great job to Arnold. Amazing job. And we'll be jumping in with the C category now. They're about halfway in to their climb. We'll get all these results. We'll get the replays as quickly as we possibly can, everybody, as they come on through. But now the C category is heating up, actually, on their volcano climb. And 3 riders, it looks like, have actually gotten away at this point. Let's go ahead and see if I can bring this on in. But it does look like it's going to be Sarah Watmore, actually. And this is the reason why. This is the reason why in those pre-stage explanations she gave, those videos she sent in, she's standing next to lots of KOM and uphill signs because this woman likes to climb.
Well, one of the driving forces behind this event, but they're attacking her now, Nathan. Oh boy, there is no quarter given out here on this climb. It looks like now it's every woman for herself. Once again, picking up the C race. I can't believe we finally got the opportunity. The Otters are in the house with a nice win there for the Bees. And this is it. It's really less than a K to the finish line now. These ladies motored through the stage today, a monster day, over 40K of racing before this one was done and dusted.
Real quick look here, too. This is maybe being a let go. I'm not sure. You know, I mean, looking Madison Petrali here. Where is Petrali here in the C category? Because these are GC rankings. Sarah Watmore here, not over in the overall, maybe saying not a concern, and some of the riders behind just following who they need to. But Petrali here now only 3 seconds back, maybe not concerned too much with them getting away, thinking I can pull this back together here. Gerber, though, losing time, though, to her teammate, as you can see, as this is the situation here as Petrali looks to go across for Vixen. And will she be able to close that down and still get the stage win out here? But Watmore obviously going for the Queen of the Mountain on the day, not so much a GC.
You're not at all intrigued by an Italian person named Madison?
What? Help me here.
Madison Petrali, racing out of Italy. Madison has now gone global. The brand of Madison, Wisconsin, Nathan. You guys are doing a great job there.
Oh, God. Well, that might go further back in history, but I appreciate it.
I don't know. Well, either way, having some fun now because the C women are, it's no longer fun, is it, Nathan? Welcome to downtown Payne City. Is a big surge happening here. So, again, San Diego Bicycle Club, the SDBC, and in that maroon jersey is Markham. But it's going to be Bigliazzi here, the Cryogen C1 rider. But look at this. They come back to life, don't they? As that's going to be Sarah Watmore, isn't it? Coming back here up to second?
Yeah,
the Revo rider
Watmore continues at 183.
Finish coming right up, though.
183. Markham here, 180, as you can see. So it's going to be one little kick here, level off a little, and then it's going to be, again, that final kick to the line here. Bigliazzi here, it looks like, does not want to be caught by Petrali. Petrali here suffering a little bit, looks like here, 2.1 watts.
Our overall leader.
SDBC looking to come back. Sherrington also from ADR. Sonia Whiteman here now, it looks like, from Team Fearless. And then it's going to be Liz from Live by Cycling out of Wales. So that's your current situation for the top six. This one's really blown apart a lot more, as you can see. Not so much of the what we saw in the B
group
the
racing
category
right
here. No drafting really happening, just right from the bottom to the top.
You completely agreed. Just turning into a sufferfest right now. It looks like Madison Petrali is going to be okay. She had a nice buffer, although it's starting to become a question. It gets really steep here. You can see that's a 10% grade, and now it's a throwdown. And it looks like Markham here in the maroon jersey is going to take the stage, the queen stage at the Tour de Boudicca. This one is put paid. That is a command performance. Great job. This is going to be our race organizer, Sarah Watmore, finishing in third place. Second,
and then
actually.
It is across the line from Bigliazzi. And then Sherrington actually coming up, and it looks like followed up by Murray and then Todd and
Watch
then
the
Whiteman.
clock.
I believe Petrali fading, actually, interesting to see. So the clock does matter here.
It'll be close. It's going to be close. Yeah, we'll watch that.
For a moment, but we'll watch out for the results as they do come in. D category riders now just getting into their climb. And it is going to be the Ice Queens taking over, as we saw yesterday as well. But T-Wog as well from Revo now to the front, as you can see, 144 beats per minute. And as you said, this is the race to the bottom of the climb, and that's exactly what's happened. 1 hour and 6 minutes of racing in, though, at this point. So interesting to see Lizzie Archer here now from WTR Ladies. She is a rider that's got something on the line here from the bottom of this climb. Is she going to go right away? 144.13. She's got time to make up on Jacqueline Lee, who is leading things out into the climb. You see Jay Lee here defending as she takes over toward the front with the WTR Ladies as well in there, trying to make a little bit of move with Franz as well. So this has really got a lot on the line here, and it's going to be all about the clock to the top here, as we do have a WTR Lady Franz here looking to make some big watts here. And as we see, she's currently 145.51. And Sarah Perrin, as well as Gail Kocher and Debbie Mitchell, are going to have to be watching this rider because she gets a minute. She's going to take over 5th place overall.
And that's not out of the question. I mean, if you go back to Madison Petrali, we're going to have to take a look at the GC there because that is not a done deal. That's for sure. Well, it is a done deal now. I just don't know the answer of who won the overall there. So that one remains in play. Really well-designed race here when you look at it. That we're coming right down to it the last couple of kilometers, and this race could go a bunch of different directions here, Nathan. So, all right. This is going to be Franz, the WTRL Ladies Rider World Tactical Racing League. Always giving a shout-out to Martin and Steven, all the hard work they do to keep us in line out here. Go to swiftpower.
Keeping us
yeah.
in line. like
Info, data-driven guys. Yeah. So, all right, going to be a while here. A few minutes of racing remaining. This will come to a rapid boil.
We can use our second shots here now at this point to see what the chase is like as well. So here's Gail Coker, who needs to hang on here at this point because she is in the top 10 here from the Ice Queens here at this point. So Walker as well. Child's falling off. Kovacs is off the back now, as you can see. So top 10 is within reach for the stage here. But a lot of these riders here starting to struggle after WTRL have gone to the front and really turned the screws, as Perindo from Revo and Jacqueline Lee there from Ice Queens have looked to close things down. So it does look like a group might start to form to the front here. As you can see, this is the front here, and still the damage being done by Franz Perrin now coming across from Revo.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, when you look at the speeds dropping, not here right now for the front runners, but when the speeds go under 18 kilometers per hour, the grade is over 4%. There really is very little draft available. And you start to see the gaps that are opening up. You go into your own private world of suffering at this point on the climb, and we're just about there.
Yeah, it's getting super close here at this point. We're going to be coming on into the little flat section through the volcano. It gives a little bit of respite here, but it does look like a group is forming. And Jacqueline Lee from the Ice Queens has been able to close that down. And she's the only one that's really within striking distance here of these two riders. Perrin is at 145.41. Hoker's there at 145.24. Debbie Mitchell here needs to be thinking about this. The Canadian rider, she was tied here, I believe, with Sharon Longley here. Excuse me, no, mistake there. Gail Coker, though, actually off the back with Debbie Mitchell. So no concern there. It's actually Perrin and Franz that are making up the most time, but they're tied on time here for 8th and 9th at this point, actually, at 145.41, 145.51. So right together here, looking to maybe make up some time here over Coker, Mitchell, and Longley. Perrin there as well. So solid efforts here all around.
So two teammates there, 12 seconds apart. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Tamsin Law and Hollum, the two riders that are going to be in an interesting scenario here because 12 seconds, that is the difference between Nicole Hollum back to her teammate Tamsin Law. And then you look, it's a pretty decent gap back to Jacqueline Lee, isn't it? So
yeah, Lee's off
it
the
looks
front,
like it's
but
down
not
to those
threat.
two.
Not a threat.
Yeah,
They're
there's just
Ice
not
Queens
enough.
as well.
Right. All Ice Queens.
And Jacqueline Lee says enough is enough. Starts to turn the screws at the front here as they head into the second part of this climb here, and it looks like she is breaking away. Franz trying to respond, though. It looks like she's got
Big
it.
watts.
Up and out the
Yeah,
saddle.
look at this.
Wow.
Yeah, 5.7 watts there.
202
That's
beats per minute.
Whoa.
Wow. That is
she
an
came to
effort.
race.
She is putting on an effort right now, does not want to let that go, and comes right over the top of Jacqueline, says, no, you are not
That was
getting
a
this gap
statement.
here. 203 now at this point, and Jacqueline Lee trying to respond. And Franz getting steady here now at this point at 204 beats per minute, trying to take down this Queen of the Mountain.
Man, you are so enthusiastic when you make an attack like that. It's really being able to sustain. Then can you drop back down and maintain it like a 3 watts per kilo? Because that's what you're going to need to do to hold off Jacqueline Lee, who's one of the Iceni queens. That was the tribe that Boudicca led up against the Romans, and we got ourselves another epic battle. Nathan, what a way to wrap up 3 days, 3 stages of racing with the Tour de Boudicca. We got 2 women together, and it's not gonna, if these two play around with each other at all, there's other riders that are ready to come and take over this very boy, it's Parent, and she's coming. I have a feeling that she's going to be part of this, turn this into a 3-rider group, possibly, Nathan. And they got a ways to go here. It's not like the finish is just 1K away. It's a little more than that.
Oh yeah, quite a bit of time here climbing left here to go here as Jacqueline Lee continues on and now counters. I love it how there's counters back and forth here. Franz here trying to come across. She kicks again. Let's see where that heart rate has gone to. She got 3 beats back. And now, where is this energy coming from? She's up into 204 and now backs off again. Now 1.6 watts per kilo. Now Jacqueline Lee also backing off. You can see as the force is not up against the pedals quite as much. And Perrin, though, fading backwards as the speeds go up on the flatter sections. It looks like Tasman Law and Hallam here looking to come across. WTRL ladies just sitting on here as well, maybe waiting for a sprint at the line. There may be a final kick. There might be a rider sitting in here somewhere that can close 10 seconds in boom, just like that, over that 11% gradient, though.
But it's starting to look like Law and Hallam are going to ride together to the finish. I don't know. Well, Law is starting to surge a little bit. Tamsin Law is now moving. We'll see what happens there. That's the battle for the overall. But I think the story is going to be, can Franz hold on for the stage win here? It's just been body blow after body blow between Lee and Franz out here.
He's got a feather power up. She just used it here, 4.1 watts per kilogram. I think if Franz had a power up, she would have used it right there. And now I think this is looking for the nail in the coffin. I think that was what that move was, knowing that there's only about a little less than, I think, 500 meters to go.
Yeah, I think that was the definitive moment of this race. That power up drops. She now around this bend, you start to move into victory mode at this point. What a way to win for Jacqueline Lee of the Iceni Queens. I think she's going to do it, Nathan, as the gap there has now kind of established itself at 4 seconds. 4 seconds might not sound like a lot, but it's so hard to bring it back on a climb like this. Is this one done and dusted? It's getting pretty darn close here, as the Tour de Boudicca's all come down to this, a command performance for what looks like is going to be a memorable stage win here. Jacqueline Lee, fittingly for the Iceni Queens team, is going to take the win. And we'll see, Nathan. Again, it can get crazy out here, but it looks like Hallam probably going to hold on for the overall win. Nicole Hallam, congratulations. We think, and that's maybe a little getting ahead of myself, putting the cart in front of the horse, because what we do know is this is a bid for a massive stage win here, Nathan. Jacqueline Lee in full effect.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised. I mean, Hallam here is only 6 seconds back at this point. It looks like she's coming on pretty strong, actually, here. And the Ice Queens might be looking for a podium sweep again as they continue on. As Franz, her early attacks here. Well, she did have a feather power up, actually, trying to hang on. It is 1 second between them, but here is Lee now. 4.5 watts per kilogram coming from Franz.
Maybe.
We saw her up into 204 beats per minute at one point. She's got a lot to work with, I think, here. So she might have a kick.
Gotta love it.
Go now.
Yeah.
4.5. Lee saying no. Right to the line here. 9% grade. Oh my gosh, she's got to hold on. It looks like she's going to do it. Ice Queens are coming for that last spot, though.
Pretty similar to our A race that we saw, to tell you the truth. That last challenge from Franz, way to keep your head in the game there. And that's
Hallam with the kick. Oh man, grabs that second place.
You know what, Nathan, that was maybe the perfect example of, again, risk reward. She was racing for the win, and it cost her second. But she was racing.
She ended up, but she put it on the line. It looked like everything.
Hey, no, I love it. That's not criticism.
Amazing.
That's not criticism, but it does. A conservative racer who wasn't all in maybe holds on for second place there, but I would rather go out swinging for the fences, exactly what we saw. But it shows you how racing is complex, folks.
Perrin now. Solid effort here coming in from Perrin, as she was sitting in 8th place overall coming into the line, but great racing all around from all of the ladies here. I want to say a big appreciation to all of the ladies that provided the live cams as well of all of their efforts. Great job out there to them. Charlotte, I saw your big thumbs up. Appreciate after your race there. Appreciate it as well. Let's take a quick little look, though, at each of the replays. We do have some replays here from each of the categories. Definitely want to highlight how things went down to the line. Dave, these efforts to the top of the climb, I think these ladies put it all down. That's for sure. I mean, you saw how incredibly hard they were working. And in the A category, we did see Shawnee Berger, as we saw earlier, hammering. This was the breakaway situation. We can speed this up because they were on the uphill here, but she had gone very early. Keller tried to close it down. I thought Keller was going to make it happen, actually, at one point. She was coming across, and Berger was fading with no orange numbers, but Keller, 9.5, as you can see here. And then it was actually Cryo RDT rider, interesting enough, coming across the line there next. And that was not Bexy Dew then as well. Nice job to Bexy Dew. Bree Vine then, it looks like, was able to come through for 5th place, I want to see. So battling it out between Dew and Vine there, Dave.
Yeah, giving Shawnee credit, she wins the sprint competition yesterday. I thought it was very savvy, looking back now, that after she realizes she's got that one in the bag, backs off a little bit, saves something for today, and ends up winning the queen stage of this race. That's a really good job there by Shawnee Berger. Again, one of the riders that I think made a big step forward here this weekend at the Tour de Boudicca.
It's a really good point, actually, and we can take a quick look here at exactly that. Is Berger, Monalee Keller, Beth McGiver, followed up by Bree Vine and Bexy Dew for
Think of that.
Those Queen of the Mountain points.
When's the last time that your sprint jersey winner also won the Queen of the Mountain? I mean, it's something you just don't see.
Berger's quite the athlete, obviously, who's been making big moves here and showing she's got huge talent, actually. So now we do have, it looks like for the B category, I believe is what we got here. And this was the replay coming on, and I think I hit it just a little bit late. This is Krohn, followed up by Holt, as you can see, coming to the line. Otterhouse went, it looks like, trying to make something happen, and I think she held on. This was a very early attack, actually, coming from Holt. I wasn't sure if it was going to hang on because you can see Arnold coming on. Arnold doesn't even have an arrow or a feather power-up. I think with a better power-up, she might have had that. Wilson now coming across, as you can see here, and Arnold up another saddle again. We saw how hard she had worked. I love the smile across the line there, but it was still Holt just barely, I think, able to hang on right to the line. Look at that. Only it's so close, but I think it was about 1 wheel length between her and Wilson. Loving the effort there from the women in that B category. Let's take a quick look how that ended up playing out here for the overalls here in the Queen of the Mountain. It does look like it was Holt, followed up by Wilson, and then Jen Arnold, Darlene Cohn, and then Susan Vertical. That's going to be very similar to what we'll see for the results as well. As we do have those. I'm going to go, I know I'm jumping around just a little bit, but this was the A category results. Very similar to what we saw there. Christy Tracy, who had attacked at the bottom of that climb, ends up still holding up for 7th there. Laura Matson-Cole, Stephanie Sidlick, and Tella Leonardi. Same as what we saw for the Queen of the Mountain, though, for that top 5. Lucy Brash able to hang on, and also, I believe, preliminary, but taking the overall in the GC. B category, Sue Lynn Holt, all right, look at that. Within 1 second of each other, Darlene Cohn, followed up by Susan Vertigal. I think Vertigal there is going to be taking down the overall, followed up by Lauren Hewitt, and then Stephanie Holmichael, Melanie Dobbins, Amy Williams, and then Sarah O'Grady. So that was going to be it for your B category. C category here, as you can see, go ahead, Dave. We'll give this to you for the season Ds.
Great. So, Caitlin Markham, congratulations. Taking the stage here today. You can see how close that was as well as Sarah Watmore ends up in second. This one went right to the line as Kelly Bigliazzi ends up in third. Good job, Claire Sherrington taking fourth. Pat Murray rounding out our top five. El Todd in sixth. Then it's Sonia Whiteman, Liz Davies Ward, Madison Petrali. And the big question is, does Madison hold on for the overall? She finishes in 10th, so she certainly went down swinging. Annaline Visagi finishing in your top 10. So that's the stage. But Nathan, I'm doing a little bit of math, and I think that Petrali should be good. We're going to jump in with the D's, though, on the stage today here. Jacqueline Lee gets it done. Boy, Holland gave her a run for her money. That's going to let's see. Okay, there we go. Right. So Nicole Holland ending up second, and Franz in third. That's right. I was wondering what happened. I thought Franz was second, but she chased so hard there. As Arabella Bruce ends up in fourth, Tamsin Law in fifth, Lizzie Archer sixth. Then we've got Gail Kocher, Sarah Perrin, Ann Walker, and Sharon Longley rounding out our top 10 for the D's on today's final stage. 3 days, 3 stages. And this one wraps it up here for the Tour de Boudicca. Obviously, a lot of things to talk about. Sprints, Queen of the Mountains, but the overall, the big prize.
Yeah, the overall big prize is where it was at. And again, I want to give a big shout out to REVO. I want to give a shout out to everybody throughout all the stages that provide the live cams and helped us out with that. We really appreciate all of you very much. And we will be looking forward to more of this. Actually, Dave, I think that the example that REVO has set here, as well as all of the ladies and how they have shown up, and all these esports teams have shown up and said, we are here to race and we want to race in these community races like this. I think it's really set a standard, and I'm so excited to see what's coming for the future. Now, if you're looking for GC results, all of that, you're going to be able to find that with REVO. They'll be announcing their results. They do a lot of double checks, just so everybody knows. They're doing a great job in the background. They're doing verifications, weigh-ins, all kinds of stuff are happening in the background before they put out official results. So that's why there's a little bit of time between the end of the race and that, just to double check everything is kosher. So, Dave, great racing. It's awesome. That was some of the most exciting women's racing I've ever seen out on Zwift, and ever seen in some ways too.
Couldn't agree more. And I just want to back up what you just said. You want to see change in this world. You want to make things happen. This is the perfect example, is what REVO did. Your community's underserved. And I agree, women's racing has been underserved. How do we change that? Well, one thing you can do is right here, right now, start by making races for women. So I want to see who the next club is going to be, because, Nathan, I think I can speak for you at Zwift Community Live. We want to do more of these type of events. We want to work with positive people that have a vision and work really hard. So for a final time, Nathan, I want to use my last few seconds here to thank the Carla Williams, the Sarah Watmores, the Emma Brinkleys, the Sil Caldieres, Marie Victoria, Christina Son, Jamie Lee Wright. Thank you, ladies. You made a mark. You made a difference. So I'll throw it back to you, Nathan, and a big thank you to you for all you did over these 3 days. Let's do this again.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Martin has let me know we do have GC rankings, but I'm going to leave that to REVO just in case. I'm going to leave that to REVO. Everybody watch for REVO's updates on the results. We'll be back as usual next week, everybody. USA Cycling Series is what is on our mind next here on Zwift Community Live, and as well as the WTRL TTT. You watched the TTT maybe for just the Tour of Boudicca, and you didn't know there is a TTT with thousands of people, 9 zones across all time zones. You don't got to get up like Arrow did at 2 a.m. if you don't want to. And you can race against everybody across the world in a team time trial. Put a team together. Registration closes on Wednesday. We'll see you for that as well this week. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'm Nathan Guerra. This is Dave Toll. We're Zwift Community Live. We'll see you next time. Right on.
Thank you.